So, in the world of the DCEU, 2023, please be good to us. We deserve it, damn it. What is up, my folks? And welcome to my review of Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Thank you so much, as always, guys, for clicking here. I really do appreciate it. So the film continues the story of Shazam and his band of superheroes who are forced back into action to stop the Daughters of Atlas before they can use a weapon that will destroy the world. As we all know, the DC-verse, the DCEU-verse, has had a pretty rocky ride ever since its start. Compared to the MCU, they just have not been able to stand on their own 2 feet. You know, they've just been so focused on trying to play catch up, and they just rushed a little bit too much, which is what their first mistake is, or like their only mistake was, in my opinion. They just never had enough time to set up anything, not like the MCU has. Which is why the MCU has been so much more successful. The DCEU just hadn't had the best track record, unfortunately. And with Black Adam being the last film of 2022, which a lot of people were divisive on that. I mean, I myself didn't really mind it, but I'm not that much of a hard audience myself. Another Shazam film made the cut, and I gotta be honest, I wasn't that thrilled with the first one. Something about the first one, it just didn't quite grab me, even to this day. I mean, I rewatched it a couple times, but it just, to me, it felt sluggish and just boring. It just wasn't for me. It didn't spark me. It didn't entice me, and it wasn't my favorite. It just wasn't for me. Just wasn't quite in my domain. Here we are 4 years later from the release of that film. We get Shazam, the sequel to the original Shazam, Fury of the Gods. And I gotta say, a little bit improved. A little bit improved. Oh, screw it. I'll go ahead and say it. A lot improved. But did this sequel actually live up? Was this more my speed level? Or did it strike me down as well? No pun intended. Let's find out and start off with the positives for Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I gotta say, first and foremost, Zachary Levi, he was perfect in this role. Even in the first one, he had that charm. He had that personality about him that just made him likable. He was great as our main good guy, as Shazam. Like I said, I like what he brought in the first film, even though I didn't quite like that one as much. He was no different in this one. He still had that charm. He still had that kind of immature personality, but full of spunk and heart. And he was really the heart and soul of this movie. This is a Shazam movie, so naturally. But he was really the heart and soul of this film. Just the way he carried himself. Very endearing, and one of the many great things about this sequel, about this particular film, out of so many. And I hope to see more of him, not just in this universe or the DCEU, if they ever do decide to make any more, considering the state of the DCEU and the new regime that has took over. We don't know. But I hope to see more of this actor. I hope to see more of Zachary Levi. I've liked him ever since the TV show Chuck. I gotta say, the villains played by Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu was spot on. Especially Lucy Liu. She definitely had her moments. And Helen Mirren, she can do no wrong. She's in just about everything. Just about everything. And everything she's in, she touches gold. Pretty much just about. They basically played the main villains of this film, the Daughters of Atlas, who's these sisters that comes for revenge and wants to pretty much destroy the world to make way for their own. I admit it's become sort of a cliche, like these supervillains come to try to take over the world and destroy it, with these superheroes trying to stop it. Yes, I know, it's a trend. Yeah. It's still enjoyable, but they both killed it. I mean, Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren was excellent in this film. I'm hearing a lot of somewhat backlash against their characters in this, which, I mean, for me, I didn't really have a problem with. But I did hear that these characters weren't really included in any of the comics. I don't know how true that is. I'm not a comic book reader, but that's what I heard. Point being, I think they nailed it in this film. I liked them. Not once was I not invested and convinced by them. And I enjoyed all the Easter eggs that you find in this. Rolling into this, I knew that these were going to pop up, although I was kind of fearful that they edited it out, because usually what you see in the trailer isn't always what you see in the movie. But I'm thankful that they didn't cut these Easter eggs out, like with the Annabelle doll, which was actually the director's, like some of the director's previous films. He actually directed some of the Annabelle films. And, you know, he added that in this film. And they also added a line of, like, the Fast and Furious thing. And I know how important family is, which is, like, straight out of Fast and Furious. And it's funny because he was talking to Helen Mirren, who was also in those movies. So I thought that was pretty clever. I thought that was pretty funny. But again, I knew rolling into this that they were going to have that in there, and I'm glad they didn't edit it out. That would have been kind of a loss, but I enjoyed those little tropes.
But I've seen all of the Fast and the Furious movies, lady. It's all about family! Family! Guys, that was a signal!
The action was astonishing. Again, compared to the first one, this one beats that one by a landslide. Well, not even a landslide, by a whole field. The action in Fury of the Gods was 10 times better than that film, than the original. That's just the main problem I had with the first one. I understand it was an origin story, but I've seen other origin stories that had more action in it than what that film brought. So that's why it's not really an excuse. So when they got to Fury of the Gods, they definitely made up for that. Everything was forgiven by the time this film was released. And by the time the action was just jumping out at me at every turn. Yeah, rolling into this, I didn't really have that much great expectations because of the stain that the first one left on me. Yeah, I'm not trying to crap on that first one too much. It still had its moments, but it just really wasn't my favorite. And it just kind of left that stain in me that, you know, like whenever you see something that you wasn't very impressed and then they come out with something else that's related to it, it just, you're not excited for it, but then they surprise you, which is what they definitely did for me in this film, by doing a 180, and it just took me by surprise. And like I said, the action in it was 10 times better than that film, than the original. So much so that the rewatch value, I can confidently say, is going to be much higher than that original film. Very visual. It didn't strike a nerve, again, no pun intended. It was more genuine. It felt like it was more in line with a comic book movie than what the first one did, than what the first one felt like. It was a great story too. And I understand, again, like I said at the beginning of this video, the whole cliche thing about the supervillains trying to take over the world and destroy it, these superheroes, you know, coming to try to stop them. It's the same old trend, but it's a superhero movie. What the hell else can you expect? You know, just saying it out loud, though, I can understand to, like, some of you, especially for those of you who aren't fans of this type of genre, I can understand that. But for people who are fans of this genre, like myself, I can pretty much get over that. But again, I understand the other people's point of view. But it was a great story. I liked the story in this, and again, compared to the first one, is a little bit of a better story as well. The film was awesome, which is why I only have one mixed but no negatives. Spoiler alert. And the mixed is the humor. Now, this seems to be an ongoing trend with me. I don't know if it's the fact that I'm getting older or it's just comedy nowadays just doesn't grab me, whether it's in a superhero movie or a solo comedy in general. But the humor just didn't really work for me. However, most of the humor that did involved Zachary Levi. The way he would deliver his lines when he would throw out a pun or a joke, it worked. Going back to those tropes, to that Fast and Furious line and the Annabelle thing, it still involved him, which is why it worked very well. And I think it just has something to do with just the way that he carried this character and just the way that this actor put his heart and soul into this character and the way he would just act it out, just perform it out. I just got most out of the humor when he was on screen. The way he would deliver his lines, he just had that goofy, immature, yet charming quality about him that just worked. And again, with the Fast and Furious and the Annabelle tropes, still involved him heavily in those scenes. I really like what he brought to this character, and because of that, I think the humor worked the best. The rest of the film, dealing with the humor, it was, yeah, It was okay, but it mostly worked with Zachary Levi. For those of you who have given up on the DCEU, try Shazam! Fury of the Gods and just see where you land after that. Because this is just my own personal opinion. We're all entitled to our own, but I do feel like they're sort of improving. The DCEU is sort of improving. Even though Black Adam, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and the upcoming Flash movie was done under a different regime, under the old bosses, now that these new bosses has taken over, even though these films was not done by them, I'm still seeing a little bit of an improvement. Even though these last few films was not done by the new regime, I'm still seeing a little bit of an improvement. And with Flash coming out with the whole redesigning of the DCEU, because that's supposedly what the new Flash movie is going to do, that's what everybody's claiming that it's going to do. With the storyline for that, how it's going to wipe everything that has been said out of existence, especially the Snyder verse, which me personally I've never had a problem with, but apparently a lot did, otherwise they wouldn't be doing this. But again, with Black Adam, which was divisive, I understand, I get, and with Shazam! Fury of the Gods, so far I'm liking what I'm seeing. Especially with Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I'm really definitely seeing an improvement. And I hope it continues on. Especially with Flash. That's the one I'm really looking forward to. But guys, give Shazam! Fury of the Gods a chance. Maybe you'll change your mind for those of you who have given up on the DCEU, which I perfectly understand. But still, they're improving. I'm seeing that just a little bit. I'm seeing it. And with Shazam! Fury of the Gods, it's definitely proving that to myself once again, especially after Black Adam. I apologize, I know it may seem like I'm talking out of my ass, but I generally believe and I generally feel the improvement. And this sequel furthermore proves that. To myself, anyway. If you still want to turn away, that's okay. Try Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and you may like it, but you may not. It's okay. We're all different. But compared to the first one, just take comfort in this. For those of you who didn't like the first one, you may like Fury of the Gods just a tad more. But again, see it for yourself and you be the judge. I loved it. It was a surprising, awesome action film, a lot better than the first one, and I put it on a pedestal. So Shazam! Fury of the Gods, what was your thoughts on it? Were you a fan? Did you find any relief whatsoever for the DCEU in this? Did this give you at least just a slimmer bit of hope? Or was this another crash and burn? Leave me your comments down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much guys for watching this. I really do appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, and share the big four. Make sure to click that bell icon so you don't miss a thing. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.